and welcome back to Bible Study by the Pond. John chapter 16. All this I have told you so that you will not go astray. There is absolutely no excuse for sin, none whatsoever. There is no excuse to be outside of God's control. He has given us everything we need. If we obey the Ten Commandments, we will remain in Jesus. They will put you out of the synagogue. Every church I go to, when I start teaching the teachings of Jesus, to be perfect, to stop sinning, and to be obedient to the Ten Commandments, every single church has thrown me out. They don't want to hear it, because pastors are dependent upon their congregation for their money, for their pride, their ego, for their power. And if you teach them that they must stop sinning, that they must be perfect, and that they must keep the Ten Commandments in order to get or earn their eternal life, there won't be too many people in that congregation. The pastor will lose his influence, he will lose his money, and he can't stand that. They don't serve God, they serve money. In fact, the time is coming when anyone who kills you will think he is offering a service to God. That time is coming upon us too. Very shortly, the world will pass laws that will end up in a death sentence for those of us who obey Jesus and the seventh-day Sabbath. The world will claim that we are the ones causing all the problems in the world. But it is not us. It is because the world has rejected the Ten Commandments and His fourth commandment, the seventh-day Sabbath, that God has withdrawn His Spirit from the world. And without the Spirit of God to keep the world intact, it will fall apart. Earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, famines, destruction, flooding. It is all because the world has rejected the Ten Commandments. Colorado passed the laws for allowing people to use drugs, marijuana. They've allowed homosexuality. And when they did, look at the devastation that took place. The floods, the fires. But they just refuse to open up their minds to wake up and understand that they are fighting against God. Folks, it's going to get worse. As the laws of the land turn against God, and they authorize and legalize drugs, sex, everything against God, they will make it illegal to be obedient to God and to keep His Ten Commandments. The world is about to be destroyed. There's not much time left to get your character straight. It's time to come back to God. They will do such things because they have not known the Father or me. I have told you this so that when the time comes, you'll remember that I warned you. I did not tell you this at first, because I was with you. Now I am going to Him who sent me. Yet none of you asked me, "Where are you going?" Because I have said these things, you are filled with grief. But I tell you the truth, it is for your good that I am going away. Unless I go away, the Counselor will not come to you, but if I go, I will send Him to you. When He comes, He will convince the world of guilt in regard to sin and righteousness and judgment. If Jesus did not leave, the disciples would not have wanted another comforter. But Christ could not be everywhere at once, for the Spirit of God is capable of being everywhere at once in everyone's life at once. And so Jesus, He left, He did His work, He's done His duty, and now it's time for us to pick up our crosses and follow in the footsteps of Christ. In regard to sin, because men do not believe in me. In regard to righteousness, because I am going to the Father, where you can see me no longer. in regard to judgment, because the prince of this world now stands condemned. I have much more to say to you, more than you can now bear. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all truth. Since Jesus is the truth and taught us truth, the Spirit of God cannot negate any truth that Jesus taught. Instead, he will guide us into the obedience of and more understanding of the truth that Jesus taught us, how to keep the Ten Commandments more and more in our lives. He will not speak on his own. He will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is yet to come. He will bring glory to me by taking from what is mine and making it known to you. All that belongs to the Father is mine. That is why I said, the Spirit will take from what is mine and make it known to you. We have a wonderful God who wants to give us all things essential for our salvation. All we have to do is be obedient to what he tells us. In a little while you will see me no more. Then after a little while you will see me. He was going to die. They wouldn't see him for a little bit. Then he would rise again and they would see him for a little while longer. And then he would go to the Father, where our physical sight would not see him. But we will see him with the eyes of our spirit. Our spiritual lives will see Jesus Christ as our mediator in heaven. Some of his disciples said to one another, "What does he mean by saying, 'In a little while you will see me no more, and then after a little while you will see me, and because I am going to the Father?'" They kept asking, "What does he mean by a little while? We don't understand what he is saying." Jesus saw that they wanted to ask him about this, so he said to them, "Are you asking one another what I meant when I said, 'In a little while you will see me no more, and then after a little while you will see me'? I tell you the truth. You will weep and mourn while the world rejoices." And sure enough, while the disciples wept and mourned because their Lord lay in the tomb, the world was rejoicing that Jesus was dead. The world hates to be condemned by Jesus Christ. You will grieve, but your grief will turn to joy. A woman giving birth to a child has pain because her time has come, but when her baby is born, she forgets the anguish because of her joy. That a child is born into the world. So with you. Now is your time of grief, but I will see you again and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy. Let nobody take away our joy. God is alive. He's alive today. He is still talking. He is still dictating, as he did to me, the book Change Your Life Biblically. He is still working in our lives when we allow him to. When we look to him and are obedient to everything we know, God will be with us. In that day you will no longer ask me anything. I tell you the truth, my Father will give you whatever you ask in my name. Until now you have not asked for anything in my name. Ask and you will receive, and your joy will be complete. How true that is. If we are obedient to Jesus and keeping his 10 Commandments holy, if we are obedient in turning our lives over to him, whatever we ask, he will provide. I have found that true in my life. Though I have been speaking figuratively, a time is coming when I will no longer use this kind of language, but will tell you plainly about my Father. In that day you will ask in my name. I am not saying that I will ask the Father on your behalf. No, the Father himself loves you, because you have loved me, and have believed that I came from God. I came from the Father, and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father. Then Jesus' disciples said, "Now you are speaking clearly and without figures of speech. Now we can see that you know all things, and that you do not even need to have anyone ask your questions. This makes us believe that you came from God." You believe at last. Jesus answered. But a time is coming, and has come, when you will be scattered, each to his own home. You will leave me all alone. Yet I am not alone, for my Father is with me. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world. How true that is. God has overcome the world. God is allowing the devil to work out his schemes in order for the world to see that sin is so destructive, God can never allow it to happen again. God can only take to heaven people who hate sin. People who love the 10 Commandments so much they refuse to break any of them. Only commandment-keeping people will be going to heaven. All of heaven keeps the 10 Commandments. Just as there are governments today that will not allow felons into their countries. Why? They don't want anybody to come in to break the law. And the same in heaven. That beautiful country, that heavenly country, will not allow felons into heaven. Only those who have purified their lives through obedience to the 10 Commandments, looking to Jesus as our sacrifice, who died for our past sins. We love him so much that we refuse to sin again and live his perfect, righteous, and holy life. We will be going to heaven. The rest will be burned up and destroyed. Have a good day today. Keep Jesus in your heart. Keep looking to him and live his righteous, holy, and perfect life. Thank you.